President Biden's approval rating ranks right up there with jock itch.
Come on, man. Give me a little break here.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people.
I don't believe in the no-win scenario.
This is the Greg Belfrage Show.
So we will have President Joe Biden and Donald Trump who will both be visiting the border today. In fact, that'll be happening yet this morning. So they'll be about 300 miles apart at these two cities. The president will be in Brownsville, Texas, and Donald Trump will be in Eagle Pass, which is Eagle Pass has been ground zero of the immigration, mess that we've seen. They're right in the heart of it. And so the president saying that, reacting to this, and it's just amazing how they continue to blame what we see happening, going on Donald Trump. And that's what they're looking forward to, it seems, to doing, is talking about the budget deal then that they're blaming it was killed by Trump. And we had all of this figured out, and it was Trump who torpedoed this, basically, is what they're saying. Difficult to get into it because it's outrageous. It's outrageous. I mean, what's your reaction when you hear that? I would love to hear from you. 605-336-1320 is my number. If you'd like to join the program, please do. Drop me an email if that's easier. Greg.Belfrage@KELO.com is my email address. Greg.Belfrage@KELO.com. Is that simple? Or give me a call, 605-336-1320. So you've got the president and Trump making dual appearances today. And what are your thoughts on the president going to the border? I would love to get your reaction. What are your thoughts on President Biden finally now going to the border? And do you expect any change in policy? Do you expect that he will implement anything differently? Let me hear from you. 605-336-1320. 605-336-1320. Phone lines are open. I just think this is all for show. The whole thing's for show. I think it's a joke. So, seriously, the president's going to go, it's all for show. You go into Brownsville, and I don't think he's really, regardless of what he sees, I don't expect him to suddenly go, wow, we had no idea it was this bad. Had no idea that this is what's going on. You're not expecting that. I can't believe that. I certainly am not. Can't imagine that you would be. So, I'd love to get your reaction. This just seems like it's political theater. Political theater. He's going to go and he wants to use this as an opportunity to trash on Trump, and it's all Trump's fault. And it's the same old song and dance that we've heard from this administration. I really don't expect anything new. I'm glad that it's bringing focus to the issue, because I think the people who live there need our help. The country needs our help. But do you expect that? I'd love to get your reaction, and we're going to start with Billy. Good morning, Billy. You're on KELO.
Good morning, Greg. Love listening to you all the time.
Thank you, buddy.
Most of my thoughts are exactly how you feel. So I was just talking to the phone person that answered. I just watched this the other night where they were saying how when Biden came into office, he reversed 94 policies that President Trump had in place. So President Trump had the lowest border crossing in, 40 years, 50 years. Biden came in, reversed Trump's policies, and now we've got the worst border crisis in history. So I don't think Joe can go change anything, because if he changes it, then the question is, well, why didn't you do this 3-4 years ago?
Right.
Yeah.
So what do you
I
think today's visit is all about, Billy?
I think it's to show that he's acting like he's concerned. He needs to go down and try to make the public believe he's doing everything in his power, and he'll still come back and say, well, Congress, and the Republicans didn't help pass the bill to make anything
Right.
better. That's what I feel, honestly. And I think just the two different locations, Trump's going to be in a way busier border crossing town than what Biden is. Biden doesn't go to the real areas where the real crossings are coming.
And even if he did, I wouldn't expect him to suddenly change his opinion and go, oh, my heavens, I had no idea it was this bad. Give me a break. The whole thing is, it's all theatrics.
I agree with you 100%. So I just wanted to say that. And just real quick, I'm sure you know this, and I know this is kind of off topic, but with Nikki Haley, most of her donations are coming from Democratic donors.
Yep.
So I think she's kind of in the race because of the Democratic donations. In South Carolina, they said most of the voters that voted for her were actually Democratic voters. So, no, I love your show. I love every topic you have. And,
you are just way too, Billy. God bless you. I really appreciate. I hope you know how much I appreciate that, and I mean that.
And real quick, with most of your listeners this morning, I would say John Thune is more like Mitch McConnell. I think he's borderline, easy to please over. So he'll go with, policies that aren't more strong Republicans. So I agree with some other listeners than you, Tom Cotton, maybe Ted Kennedy, something like that. But no, thanks for having me on, and I listen to you every day.
Well, thank you so much, Billy. I really, really appreciate it, and appreciate the call, too. Thank you. Good morning, Ryan. You're Ryan Kello.
Good morning, Greg. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thanks, Ryan. Hope you are, too.
It's a beautiful day. Can't be in a bad mood.
I know. It's great. Yeah.
I think you hit the nail on the head. And so 2 points here. Number one, do we honestly believe that this is anything different than pomp and circumstance? And the answer is no. This is all about a parade. This is about, showing face. This is about being on the campaign trail aspect of it. Nothing's going to change. He's not going to come down there and there's not going to be some, shroud, lifted, and he's going to have an epiphany and go, oh my gosh, I was wrong all of this time. But
right.
let's change this thing, But, I think an interesting component, what would be, if I were President Biden in this position, what would it state if he changed the venue? Instead of going where he's going, what if he would change to go and visit Donald Trump in the area his, and they toured it together? What would that show? If I were him,
you tell me what do you think it would show if he did that?
I think it would show the people, regardless of political party, that now he means business. Whether he's going to change anything or not, it would be a bigger parade for him to go, listen, I'm willing to suck it up. I'm willing to go stand next to this guy that I obviously hate. I'm willing to go stand next to this guy who I don't believe in, who I'm running against. But if there's two of us that are going to be here, we both have been in office, how do we fix this? Whether they take anything away from it or not, if I were him, that's what I would do.
That's really an interesting point of view. And for a moment he would never do that.
Not in a million years.
No, you're right. And I'm not saying that because I don't, as if you don't know that, but because the animosity, I think, between these two guys is just absolutely incredible.
This is like fourth grade playground bully gobbledygook, But if I were him or I were in his corner, and you really want to make a statement to the American people that, hey, I'm concerned, or I don't care about all the other stuff. All I care about is the United States safety and fixing it, and I'm willing to stand here next to my worst enemy, and I'm willing to have a conversation about it.
Yeah. Great point. Ryan, thank you so much for your call. I appreciate it, my friend. That's a great point. 605-336-1320 is the Kello hotline. 605-336-1320. But the whole thing is a sham because, as we have talked about before, he could have left Donald Trump's policies, those executive actions, he could have left those in place from day one, and he chose not to. He willfully, by design, canceled all those executive orders, and then worse than really what he started doing was pulling the Border Patrol, and saying, well, we're gonna reassign you. Not threatening anybody with their job, but we're going to reassign you. We're going to have you take care of other things. And so what we have seen happen to the Border Patrol during the Biden presidency is just, it's alarming, it's shocking, it's heartbreaking. I mean, any one of a dozen terms that you could use to describe what it is that we have seen. But this whole thing, it's just theatrics. It's just politics. There's nothing real here. Joe Biden's not going to suddenly, he got come down from the mountain like Moses with the tablets. Suddenly, he's not going to have that kind of moment. Just not going to happen. So this whole thing is just an absolute sham. Trump has been down to the border repeatedly, and on Trump's part, do you believe that it's on the part of Trump? Is it Trump taking advantage? I think you could have those that might believe that's what it's about. Same as Joe Biden, that is political in nature. But I think Donald Trump has shown with the policies that he had in place, that it's not just conversation with Trump. It's not just a political talking point to advance himself. You know what I mean? For Joe Biden, it is. It's all about Joe Biden wanting to win re-election, and now at this late date going to the border. How can it result in anything of substance? I don't think that it will. It's just done for show, and it's very much like we had talked about earlier this week. And, the idea that the White House was talking about whether to take a look at re-implementing some of these executive orders, putting those, moving those forward. And I thought, that's bogus. We'll never see that happen. We'll never see that happen. We'll never. And I said, this is just he's just saying this. He's just saying this, that we may have to take a look at those executive orders again and put those in place to react to this. And I didn't believe that. I thought, no, you're not. Don't say that. And the issue, I think, is one of trust. It's who do you trust? And you can't trust Joe Biden on anything, even the left. And we saw this as we talked this week. You saw that with the number of people who voted uncommitted rather than voting for Joe Biden. So they're Democrats, and these were a number of them Arab Americans. A number of them, not all, but a number of them, who voted uncommitted rather than vote for Joe Biden. And so even the people within his own party, he's got a credibility problem. With them, he's got a horrible credibility problem with you and me. It's just absolutely incredible. as you watch this unfold. So I welcome your thoughts. Phone lines are open if you want to call the show. Please do. 605-336-1320 is the Kello hotline. 605-336-1320. So Trump has made this for himself. It's a signature campaign issue is the border because, and again, I think the reasoning is different for Donald Trump. He sees the destruction throughout the country. He's talked about it very specifically. All right, let's get back to some of your thoughts. Good morning, Craig. You're on Kello.
Good morning to you and your listeners.
Thanks, Craig.
Yeah, I think we'll see just when he goes to the border, it'll be kind of like the other night when he gave a speech about crime in the United States, and in the background he had two big boards that said "A Safer America," and he went on talking about how crime is down, and it was, of course, because crime isn't being reported or nothing's being charged because of all the prosecutors aren't doing anything. So it's all a big joke, and the level of propaganda and censorship that the American people are getting dumped on them over the last number of years, and not just the border, between the transgenderism, the racism, everything that we're being told we have to believe is on. I can't even say that word on the radio, but
yeah, I know that feeling. I'm having to censor myself about 20 times a day, Craig. Yeah. So I know the feeling.
Yes, I can't. I'm just foaming right now, but the level of evil that's being put on the American people is beyond, I think, our comprehension. I'm sure you've heard the saying that the number of stars in the universe, the human mind can't even comprehend. I think we're seeing that on the level of evil on this country. It's hard to even wrap our head around it, and we better just keep hoping and praying, and somehow we get a change.
But I think you're on a great point there. You're absolutely right. The what we see happening, I do have difficulty getting my head around it. So when you said that, you absolutely understand how you feel, because this is why I'm saying Bizarro World all the time. Feels like Bizarro World, because I just don't recognize events today. I never would have believed that this would be the point that we're at.
Exactly.
Well, you hang in there, my friend. I really appreciate your call. It's always good to hear from you, Craig. Thank you, buddy. Phone lines are open, 605-336-1320, 605-336-1320. Or if you prefer to drop me an email, I welcome those too. Greg.Belfridge@KELO.com is my email address. Greg.Belfridge@KELO.com if you want to send your email thoughts to me. So and it's not only then the president and what's going on coming out of the White House, it's the media and the way then that because this would be challenging enough, I think, based on what the White House and their refusal then to acknowledge the truth. But when you also have a complicit media that absolutely refuses to shine a light on the reality of what's going on, and in fact, I think pretty aggressively tries to downplay or hide the truth from people rather than being out there and saying, this is what's happening, and you make of it what you will, but this is what's happening. They are totally, they're a big part of it. They're a very big. Now we've got multiple problems in the country right now, even among Americans, folks who, are Americans, were born in this country. The level of crime that we're seeing and so on. And this is where I think Craig brings up a really good point. The fact that in some of and again, it's Democrat jurisdictions where you see the Democrats who are saying, we're not going to charge these cases and we're not going to, let's get rid of bail and just let's immediately let people out of jail despite the, it's really, I think, difficult to be hit by, it feels like you're getting hit from every corner. You get a punch thrown here and it sends you kind of tilting over the other way, and then you get punched again from that direction, and you're wobbling around and that's kind of the way it is in the country right now. And, part of that is, for me, it's frustration. You just get just incredibly frustrated because you expect people to do their jobs. You expect them to be honest. You expect them, and it's an unrealistic expectation, understood. But the events as they're unfolding right now are just really, really troubling. So it'll be interesting to see what comes of these dual border visits today, both President Biden and Donald Trump on the southern border today.